Saudi Arabia's Mohammed bin Salman is many things. He is the de facto ruler of the Islamic kingdom, its prime minister, and the crown prince too. In recent years, though, he has also emerged as perhaps the biggest proponent of reform in Saudi Arabia. MBS views such reforms as crucial to not just attracting investments, but also forging a closer relationship with the most consequential countries of the world. MBS has a vision which is perhaps best put in perspective by this remark of his. I believe the Middle East will be the new Europe. In 5 years, Saudi Arabia will be a completely different country. This is the Saudi war. This is my war. I want to see the Middle East on top of the world before I die. With social and economic reforms well underway, Saudi Arabia seems to be turning focus to the moderation of religion. Saudi Arabia is the seat of Islam in the world today, both religious and political. However, Saudi Arabia is also the same country that is known to have given the world Wahhabism, or a radical knockoff of political Islam. A recent Washington Institute of Near East Policy public opinion survey suggests that Saudi Arabia increasingly favors religious moderation. 43% of those surveyed agreed that Saudis should listen to those among us who are trying to interpret Islam in a more moderate, tolerant, and modern direction. Only 20% Saudis agreed with this statement about 4 years ago. Evidently, there is a shift underway in Saudi Arabia, complemented by a strong undercurrent in favor of a more modern and moderate religious outlook. Men and women in Saudi Arabia can dance together in all-night concerts organized across the kingdom. Classrooms can now have both boys and girls receiving education together. Today, overtly hardcore religious curriculum has been replaced with a Saudi-first education. Saudi Arabia will no longer fund mosques and Wahhabi educational institutions in other countries. The Saudi religious police, which not until very long ago was responsible for upholding morality in the kingdom's society, has witnessed a remarkable cut-down in its authority. They have neither investigative nor detention powers and are not allowed to punish morally inappropriate behavior any longer. MBS has himself spoken out against radical Islam. In 2021, MBS rebuked Wahhabi scholars, accusing them of falsifying Islamic doctrines. He then detained a major Wahhabi and charged him with crimes against the monarchy. Saudi Arabia is expected to normalize ties with the Jewish nation of Israel soon. When done, it would mark the most remarkable watering down of Saudi Arabia's long-held hostility towards the idea of a Zionist state in the Middle East. This will in turn create a more acceptable environment for both political Islam and Judaism to coexist in the region, as more and more Arab kingdoms would feel free to interact with Israel. Saudi Arabia is also investing a lot in rebranding itself as a kingdom that is accepting of sports and entertainment. Using the Public Investment Fund, which is controlled by MBS, Riyadh is especially stepping up its influence in the world of sports, buying major football clubs and getting big players to play in its own clubs. The PIF is the investment vehicle behind splashy deals in sports, such as Saudi Arabia's takeover of Newcastle United and the LIV Golf merger with the PGA Tour. Portuguese star Cristiano Ronaldo, Brazil's Neymar, French striker Karim Benzema, Sadio Mane of Senegal, and a number of others have all taken up contracts with teams in the Saudi Football League. It is estimated their various deals might top $1 billion in salaries for around 20 international players. All of this fits into MBS's Vision 2030 for Saudi Arabia, whose primary motive is to make societal and economic reforms the bedrock for economic diversification away from oil. But will Indian clerics follow Saudi Arabia's lead? Hardline clerics funded by Wahhabi money have hijacked Indian Islam. These clerics have been peddling an intolerant and extreme form of Islam that champions gender equality and goes against scientific thinking. This is not a phenomena unique to India. In China, a call by Xi Jinping for efforts to Sinicize Islam stems from the aim of removing foreign influence from the religion and controlling religious extremism. Indonesia, home to the world's largest Muslim population, has always boasted a multi-ethnic society with unique cultures. But since the 2000s, conservative and Islamist groups funded from abroad have slowly amassed power. In India, any talk of reforming or modernizing the way Islam is practiced has been met with stiff opposition from hardline clerics. Take for instance the ban of triple talaq and the outrage that it triggered. Saudi Arabia has banned marriage of anyone under the age of 18. While even today in India, there are legal battles being fought over sections of the Muslim personal law which allow marriage for underage girls. France's decision to ban religious attire from schools is based on this principle of true secularism. Saudi Arabia has banned the hijab in examination halls. Yet in India, the hardliners have created a huge debate over hijab in religious institutions. A big example of India taking a cue from Saudi Arabia has been the rise in the number of Muslim women undertaking the Hajj without a male companion. Saudi Arabia relaxed the rules for Hajj last year. This year, over 4,000 Indian Muslim women benefited from this reform. Even Saudi Arabia is now realizing that the intermingling of religion and politics can create a mess where none is needed. Now that Saudi Arabia, the de facto leader of the Muslim world, is changing, is it not time for Indian clerics to look within and try to reform? If Saudi Arabia can start promoting gender equality, why are Indian clerics opposing essential laws like a common civil code?